Marvel fans, this is incredible. What's going on, everybody? My name's Blitzwinger, ladies and gents. August 1st cannot get here soon enough. Holy moly, I am very freaking excited about what Lego is cooking. Now, of course, before we dive into all of those details, just a quick heads up, guys. If you do enjoy today's video, smash that thumbs up button. Thank you guys so very much for your kindness. Thank you guys so very much for your continued support. Let's see if we could go on ahead and reach 1,000 likes on today's video. And with all that in mind, let's dive on in. So August 1st is going to be a very exciting date if you're a Lego Marvel, and more specifically, if you're a Spider-Man fan, because we're not getting one, we're not getting two, but we're getting 3 brand new Lego Spider-Man sets. We're gonna kick things off with this one right here. This is Peter Parker's apartment set. Now, of course, right off the bat, I have to say I really do love a lot of the little Easter eggs that are hidden in this set. So, for example, the actual apartment number being 410 is accurate to the comics, because I guess the most famous apartment that Peter actually resided in is located at 410 Chelsea Street. So I do like that they actually did the research there. That's very nice. The build itself is also quite nice. Like, it's not a very large build by any means necessary. It's very clear that this is meant to go along with the Miles Morales versus the Spot set. They're essentially trying to almost build like a micro city street with the Spider-Man sets. Or maybe micro is not the right word, but obviously it's not the same scale as the Daily Bugle or the Sanctum Sanctorum that we've gotten. This is much more of a toned down, kind of simplified, and therefore also quite a bit cheaper city street that you can build out. And you'll see that be very prevalent with the other sets that we're going to take a look at here today as well. But the interior of the playset is quite nice as well. I do like that we have this really cool, simple kind of kitchen area, which looks very nice. And then you have more of a sciencey lab area upstairs for Peter to do a lot of his research, as well as, of course, putting together some of his new costumes, because you can see a little mock-up there for the Iron Spider suit. So again, really nice little attention to detail for this small little playset. And then, of course, most importantly, we do have a nice little cameo appearance of J. Jonah Jameson on the side of the build via a sticker where he's clearly, obviously, like always, screaming at Spider-Man, telling him that he's a menace. We do have a really nice selection of minifigs in this set as well. Of course, we start with our hero, Spidey. He does also have an unmasked version, so you can rock either the Peter Parker look or obviously the Spider-Man mask. I do really like the inclusion of Anti-Venom. This is not the first time that we've gotten Anti-Venom, but I do like that they're trying to vary up the villain selection in these sets, so that's a massive W. We're getting a really cool MJ Watson minifig, and she comes along with a really cool game controller, as well as a spider drone that she seems to be in control of. And finally, the highlight of this set, without a shadow of a doubt, at least on the minifigure side of things, is of course the Hobgoblin. What a cool looking minifig. They really crushed it with this one. This is like one of the best looking minifigs I feel like they've done in a hot second. I feel like it feels so complete. We're gonna get the glider, which looks terrific. We're gonna get not one but a couple of pumpkin bombs to go along with the Hobgoblin. Just a really nice looking minifig from top to bottom. Definitely going to be the highlight of this set. Now, the price of this set is probably not going to be a highlight for most people, because it will be retailing for $54.99 in the US, so that's 55 bucks. Obviously, adjust that accordingly to whatever region you might be living in, to your own local currency. But again, I think for what we're getting here, especially by, I guess, today's standards for Lego, I think that this is a really cool little set. I actually quite like it, and I do really like the idea of starting to kind of build like these city streets with the previous Miles Morales versus Spot set, with this set, and also another set that we'll talk about in just one moment. But before we talk about that set, ladies and gentlemen, they finally freaking did it. We're getting more sets based on Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2 movie. Holy moly, I feel like this was never gonna happen. This is one of those things that I feel like as a community we've been like trying to will into existence and say to Lego, guys, please go back, remaster, like re-release some of these old school sets with the new technology, with the new printing work, all of that attention to detail that you guys put in nowadays. Please go ahead and do that. And holy moly, they are finally going ahead and doing that. We have Spider-Man versus the Doc Ock subway train scene. Now, before we go into more details with the set itself, let's run through the housekeeping information. So this set, similarly to the last one, will retail at $54.99 or $55 in the US. Obviously, again, adjust that accordingly to whatever country you may be living in. It is 393 pieces large. So again, not a very large set, but within this price point nowadays, that's kind of what we expect from Lego. And this is set number 76321. Now, the set itself, again, I think is simplistic. I think that there's not too much to look at here. I do like the fact that there are removable pieces, like you can remove the rooftop and actually see the seats inside the rail car, and you can sit characters in there. So that's a nice little detail. I like the sticker use of the Bay Ridge over top of Peter, which is accurate to the film. So again, that's a really nice attention to detail. I also really like the use of what seems like a broken window sticker on the back of the train car to give you the illusion of some damage being done to the train car here, to obviously try to recreate that scene more accurately to the film itself. And speaking of which, they also use these little like invisible rods that usually you would use as flight stands for the superhero line, but here they instead use it to give you the illusion of bricks flying away on the sides of the rail car. So I think that's really, really cool. Very nice attention to detail. And speaking of rail cars, I guess I should also mention, from the pictures here, it does look like it will be compatible with the Lego train systems. So if you have a Lego city that you'd like to incorporate this into, where you already have a rail system in place, that should fit right in. Now, the minifig selection in this one is pretty neat as well. We have dual printed legs for Peter, which is a nice difference compared to all the other Spider-Man that we're getting on August 1st. So nice attention to detail there. We have an unmasked look for Toby here as well. So you could rock that look if you prefer it. And obviously accurate to the scene where he didn't have the mask. So that would be very accurate to see there. We have an insanely complex looking Doc Ock. I really want to see some more pictures being shared of this one from different sides, just to get a good idea of what the actual print work on the torso looks like. But overall, looks really neat, and I really like the Doc Ock arms on this one. I mean, they look very articulated and super duper detailed. So as long as they're not flimsy, this should be a really excellent Doc Ock to add to your collections. Obviously, J. Jonah Jameson is a must-have, so you could go ahead and add yet another J. Jonah to your collections. And then I just gotta ask, what in the heck is Aunt May doing in this set? I mean, literally, is she like trying to catch up with Uncle Ben there? I don't get it. Like, for real, like, why is she just hanging around on the outside of the train like that? That is very funny, but a really nice minifig selection available here for this smaller set. Again, I think that this is going to be a must pick up for me, but let me know what you guys think. And finally, I don't know if we saved the best for last, but we definitely saved the biggest and most expensive set for last, because this is set number 76324, Oscorp versus Spider-Man, which is a cool title, by the way. This one will have 808 pieces and will retail for $139.99 in the United States. So again, this is definitely the priciest of the entire bunch. Now, I love the idea of this set. I love the idea of this kind of medium scale play set where you're once again trying to build out that city street. Like I mentioned before, we have Peter Parker's apartment. We have the Miles Morales convenience store with the little apartment building over top of it that we've already gotten when we had Miles versus the Spot. And now this. So once you combine all of these sets, you definitely do start to get a nice little cityscape there. But I just feel like this one looks so freaking empty. Like, in my personal opinion, I really feel like they should not have done any of the other buildings except for Oscorp. I think Oscorp deserves its own release, like the Daily Bugle, just because it's such an iconic building in the Marvel universe. And to be fair, I think it would be able to look really cool if you were able to offer it at a more premium scale and price point. And by the way, that is not to say that this set is ugly. I think there's some nice attention to detail here. Like, the Oscorp shape itself is not bad. Like, I like the Oscorp logo. I like the giant green goblin override image of the panel screen up front. I like the other buildings themselves as well, like the little Easter egg to Spider-Man's release year with 1964. I love the apartment detail with Eddie Brock's apartment that seems to be incorporated here as well, making a reference to actually the Venom movie with him having his chickens there. So again, pretty good attention to detail here. The problem is that there's just not a lot of it, especially when you look at the backside of this set. It just looks very bare and like it's lacking in details. I mean, for $140, I just think that a lot of the money should have just been focused on Oscorp and making it look really cool and feel very premium. And instead we get kind of something that seems to be kind of half-baked across the board, where none of the buildings actually look stellar, even though they might have some nice details to them. Now, one thing I will say about this set that is really cool is the minifig selection, because there's actually 8 minifigs included in the set. So that's definitely quite nice. We do get a Spider-Man minifig in here, which is no surprise. We do have a Spider-Woman minifig in here, so that's really cool. Miles Morales is here along with his motorcycle. So again, really nice little start there. I really like the Eddie Brock minifig in here because he has the attachment piece of like Venom speaking to him, just like in the movie. So this really does seem to be very much so a reference to Tom Hardy's version of Eddie Brock. So I do really like that. I think that's really, really cool that Lego included that. We have Ghost Spider being included here. Then we have a Norman Osborn included, who, to me personally speaking, looks very similar. I don't know if you guys agree with this, but looks very similar to the design of Norman from the Marvel Spider-Man universe, so like the Gamerverse Norman. Then we do have his alter ego, Green Goblin. And this is not a design that I particularly care for. Like, I understand what they're trying to do here to give us kind of more of a modernized feel for the Green Goblin, but I'm just not really a fan of how it turned out, at least from the few images that we have seen so far. I think especially because on August 1st, that previous set that we talked about, Peter Parker's apartment, will come with an incredible, dang near perfect, in fact, I will say it, perfect version of Hobgoblin. I kind of wish they would have just done the exact same sort of approach to Green Goblin here. Give us a very classic looking, but give us a really nice attention to detail with the glider and so on and so forth, and just knock it out of the park. That would have been incredible. Unfortunately, this one's a bit of a misfire. And finally, by the way, we do have Kraven the Hunter being included as well. So the one thing I will say for this final set that is definitely a big positive is the fact that they chose to include 8 minifigs and a really nice selection of characters here, so that if, let's say, you're just getting into the Lego Marvel subline or theme, this is a great way to add a lot of characters into your collection, a lot of iconic characters immediately, which I do really like. So there you guys have it. That is the news. Lego Marvel seems to be back on the right track. I am very, very, very excited for August 1st to arrive. There were other Lego Marvel sets that got announced as well outside of the Spider-Man sets, but the Spidey sets are definitely the thing I'm most excited for. So I had to talk about it in today's video. Of course, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Are you going to be picking up any of these sets? Are you excited about them? Are you as hopeful as I am that the Spider-Man 2 set sells well? That way Lego is compelled to maybe go back and release some more movie-based sets on movies that obviously haven't been out in theaters in many, many years. I think that would be sick. I would love to see Spider-Man 2 almost become like a sub-theme within Lego Marvel. Hopefully that happens. I've got my fingers crossed. Thank you guys so very much for watching today's video. Like I mentioned at the top, if you did enjoy it, smash that thumbs up button. Thank you guys so very much for your kindness and your continued support. I'll see you guys here on the next one. Peace out. See you later, alligators.